Reed, thanks for joining us today
Of
on our
course.
call. Why don't you start us off before we take questions from the media of kind of where you were in your spring season when the news came down and what's been going on for the last couple months with you and your team?
Um, we were starting we were it was March and we were about to start our spring season and an 8 hour or 20-hour practice week. And, then all this hit, then we had to shut it down. But, as from a coaching standpoint, we were recruiting, we were trying to figure out our personnel. And, I thought we were progressing really well. And then, all this stopped and then here we are. But, the team's doing well right now. A couple are here in Morgantown, but the majority of our players are at home. They're working out and, we meet with them every week. Multiple times a week. We have Zoom meetings and all that stuff. And, we're just checking in with them. So they're all healthy and safe. And that's the most important thing right now.
All right, your first question here from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
So, Coach, you sort of asked this question of almost everybody, but your athletes, what can they do during this time? I mean, again, volleyball is sort of one of those things that you need to play. How do you do it by yourself when you're working out?
They do. Our weight coach gives them a workout. She can't be on the Zoom call or the Zoom meeting, but she can give them a workout and they do it. So they're working out by themselves, but also they're trying to be creative with, whoever they're with, maybe their family members. There's some posts that some of the moms are playing with them and all that stuff. So it's cool because, there's interaction and, they are working out. So that's the main thing. And it's not like basketball where there's a hoop and you can go shoot by yourself. They're like I said, they're being creative. They're putting these boards at an angle, these fly boards at an angle, hitting the board, passing it to themselves, set, hit, all those things. So what we tell them is as long as they're touching the ball and doing something, at least they're going to keep, their touches really well.
Next question from Kevin Kinder. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Reed, there's been a lot of discussion about, for several different sports, going more toward regional scheduling to kind of help with travel costs, things like that. And WVU is kind of in a unique position with its conference scheduling on that. Would you see that as a possibility? I mean, I know there's no firm plans yet, but where you might play more matches regionally to help in that area?
Yeah, right now, unfortunately, we're the outliers in the Big 12. So that really can't happen, if we're talking about conference play. But during the preseason, we were supposed to go to Rhode Island. We were supposed to travel to Arizona, but we canceled those trips because, we want to be more regional and, protect our players. So we changed it. And now we're, instead of Rhode Island, we're going to North Carolina and Duke. And then also, instead of going to Arizona, we're going to Virginia.
Next question here from John Antonik. Go ahead, John.
You got on here a little bit late. How much time do you need to get ready for a season, you think?
Typically, we need about 4 to 6 weeks. The good thing, John, is that our players are working out on their own. And, I keep telling them, hey, you got to work out like we're playing tomorrow. It's unfortunate. Some of them have weights and stuff at their house, but, the intensity of the workout isn't the same. And, the worst thing that we can do is bring them back early and start early and everyone's hurt. And, that doesn't help the situation either. So, when the time is right and when they're okay to come back, we're going to start slow, get them back, at a nice pace, and then accelerate from there.
Next question here from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
Coach, obviously in football, there's a lot of talk about the season getting, adjusted, moved, not being able to play in the fall. Your season coincides with that same time frame. So what are your concerns that you'll be able to play the schedule that you currently have set?
My concern is football right now. No, I mean, the concern is, again, when do we start? That's there's so many uncertainties that it's crazy. It's great. People are trying to be proactive, and we're coming up with different scenarios and schedules and all that stuff. But if we don't know when to start or when we can start, then who knows when we can play? And so, what we're doing is we just had a Big 12 coaches meeting. We're coming up with various scenarios, and condensing the travel and possibly the season. The good thing is we only have 9 teams in a conference, so we can manage that. The bad thing is if something is scheduled, and what if someone, one team has the virus, or a player has one of the virus, and now we have to cancel the weekend. So, and then how long does it take from there? Again, like I said, there's so many uncertainties, and we just pray every day that we can play at the start.
Next question from John. Go ahead.
What do you like about your team heading into the season whenever it starts? What are some of the attributes you like about what you got coming back?
We got a, experienced group, I guess. They've faced adversity. Last year our season was okay. We didn't have a great year, but the culture is a lot better now. Our leadership is good, and so we're looking forward to combining the incoming players and the current players, and I think we have a good nucleus to make a good run.
Next question from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
So, Coach, to follow up with that a little bit, just in general, building a program, what are the steps you have to take? Is this been tougher than you thought since you got to West Virginia a number of years ago?
It's been tough. I'm not going to lie. No, but, we made a good run in 2017. I thought we were on the right track. And then, we just had some kids transfer and all that stuff. So, that doesn't help. But, I think we're back, and we're going to, we got some good kids coming in. You want, first and foremost, you want a team that you can pick and choose and select the players that you can put in different positions. So we need good players first and foremost. But for us, we need the best players we can get, and then we're gradually getting better and better kids. So, that's a good thing. We also need kids who are committed to wanting to play at West Virginia. I tell them all the time, I said, we want kids who want to be here. Because if they're just coming here for the scholarship, then it's not going to work, or just to play collegiate volleyball. We want commitment. We want kids that want to play after college, because then they're going to continue to get better every day. And, the kids we're recruiting now, most of them want to play after college.
Next question from Kevin Kender. Go ahead, Kevin.
Reed, there's obviously a lot of discussion in football and the other sports about the one-time transfer exception, but that's something that's that's always been part of your landscape in volleyball. Anybody can leave and play somewhere next year as long as they're academically eligible, those things. I mean, first of all, what do you say to football coaches that are complaining about that and saying, hey, we got to deal with it? But second, how much more difficult does that make to build a roster, and specifically, a long-term roster with veterans?
Well, I guess it's like baseball, right? Where they play a year and they're done. They go enter the draft and play professionally. So how do you manage a roster like that? I mean, my advice to football is, hey, good luck. No, but it's tough. It's tough with the landscape now with these kids because, if they're disgruntled, they're going to leave. And so it's really hard to, and that's going back to what I said earlier. We want kids who want to be committed to West Virginia and to our program and to help build what we're trying to do. So, and right now, the team we have those kids. They love it here. It's a great school. It's a great university, a great athletic department, and that's what we're selling. And they come here and they realize that. So, like I said, the culture is better now, and there's more cohesiveness. But to go back to your question, I mean, it's the portal's not great. I mean, they have to change something, and whatever it is, it's not. It's just too easy for them to transfer.
Next question from John. Go ahead, John.
Coach, you kind of had a two-pronged deal here. Number one, in a very, very difficult conference with great teams that you're competing against on a nightly basis. And two, not really a lot of volleyball tradition before you got here. Do you kind of have to sell your kids on, hey, listen, the tradition starts with you. You start with tradition here. Is that how you go about it?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're trying to find kids who want to build a program. A lot of kids want to go to established programs and programs that have tradition already. But, with us, it's totally different, like you said, so we're trying to build the tradition but it's every day, right? The work you put in and what they do, most of them, they can only play professionally in volleyball for X amount of years. Mm-hmm. Whether it's on the beach or go overseas. So, they're looking at different careers, whereas football or basketball or baseball, I mean, they want to be professionals. So, they can recruit different kids, but like you said, John, I mean, we're looking at the kids that want to help build this program and want to make it special.
Curious, take a program like Penn State, which is in a similar region as you. What made them so special? How did they grow that program to where it was?
Well, they got a great coach. And, I just talked to Russ yesterday, and he goes, hey, for 20 years, he wasn't making a lot of money. And, but they built gradually, and they got better players and better players. And, it's a process, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, and, you watch every team, you watch the Bulls, the Last Dance, they didn't start off being the best team in the world, so everyone has to start somewhere.
And Michael Jordan, though, that helps.
Yeah, we need a Michael Jordan. But you need a Michael Jordan, and you want that mindset that he has, and you want a supporting cast around it. And that's what we want. We want kids who hate to lose. And like I said, the kids that we have coming in, I think, are going to be a great addition to our program.
Next question here from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
So Coach, Kevin asked you about transfers and obviously kids leaving. What about your own watching the portal for potential kids coming in? Do you look at that daily to see what's available?
Yeah, we're on it all the time. We're watching who's transferring and who's not, and who's available. if we're not doing that, then shame on us. Everyone's doing that. Everyone's on the portal. And, but here's the thing. There's so many kids on the portal. I don't know if there's enough scholarships to go around for all these kids. And for me, the grass isn't always greener. And what are we teaching them? I mean, if they can transfer and do all that stuff, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, but it's not a great thing. What lessons are we teaching these kids? I mean, when things get hard, they got to overcome that and suck it up. So, I mean, yeah, to answer your question, everyone's on the portal.
Next question from Kevin Kinder. Go ahead, Kevin.
Reed, when you first came in the job, I remember talking to you about potential recruiting areas, and you noted that Ohio was an area that you hoped to get into some. Looking at your roster now, though, it's really expanded nationally and even an international player. What have you found that's either changed your approach or expanded, those areas that you recruit that's made that important for what you're trying to build?
We just want the best kids. We're trying to get the kids that we feel that can help this program, and wherever that may be. It could be Florida, it could be Hawaii, it could be Europe. I mean, we got to get the kids that want to come, and that's why it's expanded. And luckily, we're, like I said earlier, it's a great university, so these kids will always have a great education after they leave here with a degree. So it doesn't matter if it's, Ohio or Tennessee or Kentucky or wherever. I mean, we just want the best kids.
Question here from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
Coach, so in terms of your recruiting, how much has this, stay at home impacted that? I know there are tons of tournaments in the summer that I'm sure that you guys would be visiting. Obviously, I'm sure most of those are going to be canceled. So, how's your recruiting right now in the midst of all this?
It's just communication with the girls and FaceTime and all that stuff. Obviously we can't be out. We would be out, well, not in May, but we would have been out in March and April. I mean, that's the heavy recruiting season. But now, it's doing virtual tours and, texting and communicating via FaceTime or phone calls or all that stuff to the 20 and 21 kids. So, now that the dead periods till the end of June, now June's out. So, again, it's the same thing. It's not less work. The only thing we don't do is travel, but it's a lot of work still. It's still, you got to keep up and recruit and do all those things. It's not like, hey, just because we're shut down, there's no recruiting.
Next question from John. Go ahead, John.
Assume your roster set for this fall. You're working on juniors and sophomores. That's where you're going from here. And then second thing, I guess it is, I sense a little bit of frustration in that you put all that time into a kid and then you get him here, develop them, and then they go someplace else. There's some of that I sense a little bit too in what you're saying.
Yeah, it's tough, We don't want to be called a farm team. And so, but, that's just the landscape. I mean, we're not the only ones. Everyone's going through that. And that's the tough part. You train the kid, they get better and they want to leave. So it's just a matter of keeping them happy and having the same philosophies and all that stuff. So,
But I would assume you can't compromise your principles to make a kid happy, right? You've got to run your program.
No, I mean, you heard Hugs before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what happened when he did? It didn't work.
Right.
So, I have my system and my principles, and, I mean, hey, we were successful at Cincinnati doing that. And I know times have changed, but we got to keep that. We got to keep that going. And, you know, to answer your first question, yeah, we're recruiting sophomores and juniors. So, and, you know, we're even looking at younger kids, freshmen. I mean, we're getting emails from freshmen and even 8th graders. I'm going, geez, you know, we need to finish our recruiting class for 2021 first.
8th graders. Wow.
Ooh. They start young, John.
Next question from Greg Hunter. Go ahead, Greg.
So the last one for me, Coach. How is Rex doing? Do you have advice for him as he tries to take his game to the next level?
No, we talk all the time. You know, it's unfortunate that he didn't have a pro day. I think that hurt his chances. I mean, it's not over yet. You know, he's still trying to latch on as a free agent. He has his agents talking to a bunch of different teams. So, you know, we just want him to get invited to camp and at least get a tryout and showcase his talent. So, you know, I told him, I said, keep your head up and keep working out and keep pushing and be ready. Because when you get that call, if you're not ready, then shame on you. Thanks for asking, though.
That looks like all the questions we have. Mess, if you want to go ahead and wrap it up.
Yep. Thanks, Grant. Media, thanks for calling in and for your questions. And Reed, thanks for your time as well on this Friday. And everyone have a great weekend. And Reed, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, you guys, and have a great weekend. Be safe.